Question number 3 is why isn't it working for me? The ink's not transferring. So some of you have been messaging me saying that you've been trying to do the tip to tip, and as you're coloring, it's not actually working. Nothing's coming out. So here are my tips to you, things that I think are probably going wrong for you. First of all, when you do it, if your marker is drying out, this won't work very well. And simply because there's not enough ink to go from one marker to the other. You need them to be pretty juicy. So if you test your marker out and you see that it doesn't look juicy, then it's probably not the marker that you want to use. Another reason it might not be working for you is that you're not holding them vertically. You need the gravity to pull the ink from the top marker down into the bottom one. So make sure you're holding them straight up and down. You can't just hold them this way or this way or this way or this way. Straight up and down, and the ink goes from here down into here. The other reason that it might not be working for you is you're just not holding it together long enough. With the thin guys like this, it should only take 3 or 4 seconds probably, but with some like the Sharpies, I usually say 6-7 seconds depending, but it could take as long as 15 or even 20 seconds. Make sure you're actually touching the tips together to let the ink transfer. You have to kind of play around with it. Another thing I would suggest is if you're using light versus dark, it is easier actually to transfer the ink, as much as you might be afraid to do this, to take I thought I had a lighter one. To take the darker marker and transfer it to the light. It would be a lot faster and work a lot better for you. If you do it the other way around, it'll still work, but because the ink is so light, you'll have to hold it together quite a bit longer to put more ink in here in order for it to show up. So I do recommend going dark on top, dark on top, dark on top. And that should work better for you. Question number 4 is, why is it looking streaky for me? Well, there could be a few reasons. One of them is back to number 1. If you're using the water-based ones, then it's going to be harder. If you're using the alcohol-based ones, then you can actually go back over top of it as you're going to try to smooth it out a little bit. That might help. Another reason actually might be if you have a marker like, say, these Sharpies. If you have a Sharpie that's still quite pointy, it has a really pointy tip, then another way that you can avoid streakiness would be, instead of just touching only the tips together, you can kind of like dot the inks around the tip a little bit too, any part that might end up touching the paper, just so that the ink isn't just sitting right on the tippy top, but is kind of around the side as well. So that should help get a more even coverage for you too. Okay, so that covers our 4 questions. Question number 1 was, what markers should I use? I recommend alcohol-based markers like permanent markers, but you can use anything. Try everything, experiment and play. It's a lot of fun. Question number 2 was, won't it ruin my markers? Well, no it won't, but make sure that you scribble on scrap paper before you put the lids back on. Question number 3 is, why isn't it working for me? Well, it could be that your markers are drying up, that you're not holding them straight up and down, that you're not holding them together long enough, or that you maybe should flip it around so the dark is on top and light is on the bottom. Question number 4 is, why is it streaky? Well, again, I recommend using the alcohol markers so you can go back over top of it again and kind of try to even the color out that way. And also, if you have really pointy markers, to try to deposit ink around more than just the very tippy top to try to make it more even. So was that helpful? I hope so. Please comment below, let me know what you think, and if you have other questions, feel free to ask. Definitely check out my blog. I do have more information on how to color, and these tips are written down there for you so you'll remember. And definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss more videos like this. And the more subscriptions I have, the more encouragement that is for me to keep going and making more of these for you. I'm Crystal Salamon, and remember, it's okay to color outside the lines. To tip, tip, tricks of tip to tip, tricks, marker, blending, extraordinaire. What? Tip to tricks of the tip. Okay. Alright. It's recording? Oh my gosh.